it makes me not want to travel outside of the state.
Broadcasting live from an Airstream somewhere in Tornado Alley, bringing you the people, places, and stories from the Panhandle to the Red River. This is your Only in Oklahoma show.
And welcome to the show. Today we're discussing the Porter Peach Festival in Porter, Oklahoma. And a little bit later, Google is investing a truckload of cash in our state. I'm Brett.
And I am Harley.
Speaking of doing things in our state, you didn't do that.
I did not.
You didn't.
My daughter had her graduation from dental hygienist school. So I had to pull a rabbit out of my hat to get to Florida last minute.
Man.
And it was a nightmare. The travel was a nightmare. I will say, my daughters took me to a natural spring.
Right.
In the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
The clearest, most beautiful water you have ever seen. And it was about 60-degree water.
You know, someone in Sulphur's going, "Hey, bud, we got natural spring."
Yeah, no, I'm talking crystal clear. Like glass.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
Did you take a dip?
I did. Yeah,
Oh.
we swam. You can like go down to where the spring actually comes up.
Oh.
It's a deep hole and all the fish hang out on the inside of it. It was really cool.
That's where you go to meet like fairies and like freshwater mermaids and stuff, it sounds like.
Yeah. And I did a lot of evangelizing Oklahoma, obviously. I
Did you
talked to
really?
a lot of people. Yeah, I talked to this morning, actually, talked to a girl from Ohio who was flying here to meet her friend who is graduating from college, and they were going to the Great Plains State Park,
cool.
to dig crystals.
So you evangelize, but you're not going to vandalize Florida for a travel experience.
No, again, I love Oklahoma, and I'll tell you a lot of reasons why real quick.
Because it pays the bills. Well,
yes, but there are a lot of reasons. For starters, there is not a place to eat Mexican food in the entire state of Florida.
that is the weirdest. Maybe Cuban food is the one?
Maybe, but Mexican food is not a thing. We ate at a restaurant in Daytona I had fajitas. It's hard to screw up fajitas.
Yeah, even if you don't know anything about them, you get the basic concept.
So if you gave a 10-year-old kid instructions, go in the kitchen,
Don't burn the house down.
here are the ingredients for fajitas,
Yeah.
make me fajitas, that's what I got.
Oh.
It was bland, it was cold, there was no sear on anything, the onions and peppers were not cooked, it was bad.
What was this place? Please tell me this place was called like Los Fajitas.
It was called Salsas.
Oh, did you? But okay, so get it? Okay, so how was the queso? Number one, number two. You're like, okay, restaurant named Salsas. Surely the salsa was.
Yeah, dude, no.
You're telling me?
No, there was nothing redeeming in this restaurant at all.
That's like saying you go to Disney World and you don't see anything. There's nothing
It
Disney.
was bad. I did not have a good meal while I was there. I had an
Jiminy
okay breakfast, but no good meals at all while I was there. And that actually bothered me because you know me.
Yeah.
We talked to the locals.
Let's go to the thing.
Where's the best place to get bread?
Right.
Well, that's probably Denny's. Like, no. The best non-chain.
Yeah, we don't chain bang around here.
What is the best and dude, the whole state is chain restaurants.
Oh my
Like,
God.
miles and miles of roads with just chain restaurant after chain restaurant. And
even the restaurant chains that in there, what's funny is like, especially out of this region, you go to certain places like Bob Evans. If you've never been to a Bob Evans before, you would think, oh, it's a local stuff. It's like they have those chains that you've never heard of.
Right.
Because you're looking it up trying to go with the menu and they're like, there's like 12 locations. You're like, damn it. Man, I got no use for Florida. The only reason, and nothing against them, the only reason I'm going to Florida is to drop $5,000 to take two kids to Disney World. That's maximum. That's it.
Yeah. and I'm not a huge Disney fan, so
I know you're not.
It's not necessarily my thing. But I did have a good breakfast. It was not supreme. It was not J&W grill breakfast.
But also, if you're a home cook with a decent ability, you cook the things that you like. You learn. You know what I mean? There's just certain things, and then when you eat them elsewhere, you're like, mine's better.
Yeah, I cook a lot, and it really bugs me when I go to a restaurant and pay 10 times as much as it would cost me to cook at home, and me walk away from breakfast going, I would have done much better. Yeah,
I practically want to slit my wrist when it's time to, like, when you're out and about and you got to make that tough decision of what to eat. I'm like, God, I can make most of this better. So what was the place called?
The place was called the Peach Orchard.
That's ironic.
It is convenient. It's a convenient segue into the topic of today's show.
No. So we're going from an average breakfast at the Peach Orchard to the Porter Peach Festival, which is the biggest peach festival in any town in Oklahoma.
I don't know the statistics on whether it's the biggest peach festival. I think that it is, but it's billed as the biggest small town festival in Oklahoma.
Okay, well, I think, and maybe we need to do the math and come back with a different episode about Stratford, because Stratford is throwing tomatoes, peach. They're throwing the farmers market at us right as we speak, because up until recently, Stratford's been kind of the king of the hill, but we're talking about Porter.
Yes. Porter peaches mean a lot to people who are in the know.
Uh-huh.
You're talking, like summer days, juicy fruit.
It's canning, all that stuff.
It has its own aura, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's often misunderstood, though, that a Porter peach is a specific type of or variety of peach. It's not. The term is simply that the peach is grown in Porter, Oklahoma.
Right. One thing about Oklahoma's soil, okay, it's very diverse. It can grow a lot of things. The soil here is extremely fertile, and it's the perfect. I mean, I'm sorry, Georgia, Oklahoma's may have you beat on the peach capital. We're the perfect place to grow peaches.
Again, I don't know the science behind it. I don't know.
There's something to it.
The people in Porter, Oklahoma, have a lock on growing peaches.
I think so, too.
The citizens of Porter have been growing peaches since before we were a state.
It's their cash crop. To me, I think, it's your cash crop. You perfected the peach.
A lot of that is that they're kind of bordered by two rivers,
and
it just brings in a lot of nutrients to the soil.
It's fertile myrtle.
So originally, though, Porter was a part of the Creek Nation allotment.
Mm-hmm.
It had some of the most prosperous farms in Indian Territory, including a farm belonging to a gentleman by the name of Ben Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
Ben was a 5/8 Creek Indian.
That's more than half.
Yeah. He attended Tallahassee Mission School until the age of 12 when his parents sent him to Carlisle Indian Industrial School in Pennsylvania.
Basically, that's like a turn of the century Votech.
I'm assuming that's what it is, but that's where he learned all about fruit production, working for a Pennsylvania farmer who owned peach and apple orchards.
Right, and when he returned to the allotments, he planted the first commercial orchard in the area in 1890. Again, like you said in the beginning, before statehood.
Right, and that's just southeast that's just southeast of the town of Porter. And this particular orchard, though, it gained national attention in 1904 when Marshall took his peaches and apples to the Louisiana Purchase Exposition in St. Louis. Historical records are a little iffy on this one.
As always.
Some say that Marshall won gold medals, some say he won bronze medals, and some sources claim the medals for Marshall's apples and others instead of his peaches. But either way, Marshall's peaches received high praise at the World Fair, and the first Porter peaches made their mark on the national stage.
And they're not just known for the peaches. They do apples. They do all kinds of fruits. And again, I think it has a lot to do with going back to the geology of the area. You go where, whether you're planting, if you're a hunter or a gatherer, you go where the water sources are. Those are your best sources of minerals, nutrients, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the things that we've discussed this is one of those things that we've discussed on multiple occasions. The diversity of Oklahoma's terrain makes for a lot of interesting backdrops for movies, but it also makes for a lot of diversity in what we can grow.
Right. The agriculture here, I mean, we just drive around. If you do a lap of the state, there are vineyards, there are cornfields, there's, wheat farms, pecan farms,
trees,
soybeans. I mean, it's all there.
Yeah. So 55 years ago, the community of Porter was faced with the issue of how they could raise matching funds for a federal grant to build a civic center in the small town, and civic leaders determined that their best asset was the town's cash crop, peaches.
Obviously.
So local peach growers worked with Porter Lions Club to host the inaugural Porter Peach Festival in 1967.
I love peaches. I know it's kind of a random thing to say right in the middle of the segue, but I just love a nice peach. I've had a Porter peach before. I've had 6 of them in a row before. You can take a melon baller to them and or a tiny ice cream scoop and just scoop it out. It's just like, I don't know. It's like sorbet. It's a sorbet with skin on it. I don't know what it is. It's just they're so freaking good.
So Connor asked me, I gave Connor a peach.
Yeah.
And he asked me for a pear, so I gave him another peach.
Good one, Dad. I mean, you have kids. You're allowed to...
You should always practice what you peach.
Very well, right? Oh, man, you've got it on... You're on fire.
Yes, I am on fire. So the festival, though, was an overwhelming success. The first peach queen was crowned. The first prize peach basket was auctioned off. And Lady Bird Johnson even posed for a picture with a bushel of peaches the community shipped to the White House.
Well, a lot of orchards have kind of faded into the history books. Porter still continues to produce peaches commercially. And like I said, I've bought some in Shawnee, Oklahoma, behind a flea market and out of the back of a truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, until that point, it was the other guys that you only heard about having the peaches. I had no idea that Porter basically is the Mecca, the peach fuzz capital.
I love going to a farmer's market.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And I'm all about ugly produce.
Mm-hmm.
Like, give me the produce that the farmer just yanked out of his yard.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not the pretty, Walmart tomatoes. They got some ugly spots on them or whatever.
Yeah.
They taste so much better.
Right. You can tell the difference in what I call factory direct produce versus, like you said, I need something that I'm not afraid to go eat it off the tree or right out of the crate.
And, the thing about fruits and vegetables, I don't need a high gloss finish on my fruit.
I don't.
It doesn't need to look like it belongs in a catalog.
Right. And you never know if they're ripe because they're so
generic.
Waxy.
Yes.
It's like it looks red, but when you cut open the tomato, it's red on the outside. You cut it open and like, where's the juice at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you. So anyway, let's talk about the festival itself.
Yes.
This year's festival is July 14th through the 16th, obviously in downtown Porter, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
So the Porter Peach Festival, though, celebrates the area crop of peaches with a ton of events, and this is a perfect summer activity for the family.
Right.
You can pick peaches at nearby orchards. Porter's downtown Main Street has arts and crafts, games, including turtle races and frog jumping contests.
Those are big. That's a big deal. You don't see a lot of that.
No, and that is something that my personal opinion is missing from a lot of
the charm.
Yeah, the small town charm.
Mm-hmm. The mutton busting at the the little rodeos and the frog jumping. That's something you only see. It's a very niche,
right?
But it's got that charm.
It does. So they'll also have live music. They've got food, including free peaches and ice cream, baked goods, recipe contests. Obviously, a lot of peach-related food.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of peach-related food categories.
Right.
Peach cobblers, desserts, preserves. They have a battle for the title of Best Peach Cobbler and Best Peach Jam.
Man, I would be a terrible judge. I'm a better judge of character than I am a judge of peach cobbler. I like them all.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to, at the end of the day, didn't you say peach? I heard you had me at peach cobbler.
Uh-huh.
It's the crust. Really, when it comes down to a cobbler, you can only judge it on the density of the crust. And I got to try them all multiple times to make a solid, sound decision. We may be going into the wee hours.
I don't think that you would
waiting
be a
for
fair
the smoke,
judge.
the smoke to come out of the chimney. Is it white?
I don't know that you could actually judge this contest. You would just weigh like 500 pounds, and they'd be like, "Which one was the best one, Brett?" And you'd be like, "Oh, my stomach."
Oh, I'm gonna have to let you know what the results are pending. Oh God.
I'm going to need another bowl of that one.
Right.
Yeah. One of the cool things, though, and I think if you go to this, you've got to get it.
What?
Your Peach Festival Cookbook. It's filled with all local recipes.
It's 600 ways for peach sundaes. I mean,
I bet you there's a lot of recipes that you would have never thought, oh, that's a good idea.
Huh, yeah. But the problem is I like peaches so much that I'll eat a peach and then I'll be short on peaches for the recipe. Man, it'd be a tough decision. But I would be down to see how many different ways you can come up with peaches.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure it's probably mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But back to the festival, they're going to have carnival rides. They have the Peach Pageant.
Yep. Of course they do.
Peach Parade.
They got to.
Old Fashioned Festival.
Mm-hmm.
The 5K Peach Classic.
I will not.
Maybe if they're giving away cobbler at the end.
Like they're giving out water or Gatorade. You're like,
peach cobbler and ice cream.
God, just all matted into my beard. Gross.
Yeah. They have an antique tractor pull. I think that's cool.
Yeah, I like that.
They've got the car and truck and motorcycle show. And some of the cool things, like back to the concept of the frog jump and that sort of thing. Annual pet show featuring categories such as ugliest dog, best trick, best costume, fattest cat, and most unusual pet.
Are we trying to... why can't we just normalize ugly dogs? I think they're all pretty. I think every dog, every breed has a little something to bring. I think you would judge harshly. The category you would judge the most harsh is the fattest cat, because you're not a fan. I won't say hate.
It. No, I hate cats. I'm allergic to cats. I've been attacked by a cat.
I have a hard time with that. You had to have done so. It takes a lot for a cat to go, you know what? I'm sick of your shit, dude.
No.
Do it one more time and I'm going to box the shit out of you.
I don't think I did anything to this cat.
Well, how old were you?
7.
Jeez, man, 7 years old? You did something to the cat. You pulled its tail, you pinched its nipple, you did something.
No, I don't think I did. My grandmother's cat was just mean. And I was allergic to it. How about that?
You could have been angry with the cat because you were allergic to it. Or it didn't, you required too much attention. There was something, I have a cat. I know when she attacks me, it's because I willingly and knowingly invade parts of her body she doesn't like. I scratch her butt. She doesn't like it. Anyway, fattest cat. Most unusual pet. That would be interesting to see.
I wouldn't I wouldn't be able to judge the ugliest dog, because I think typically the cutest dogs are the ones that are a little jacked up.
Kind of back, they're like where their tongues hang in between the gap in their teeth stuff.
Yeah, or their jaw doesn't align right, or, my dog nearly brained himself running into a brick wall.
Oh, boy.
When he was a puppy, so...
Well, it sounds like it... I mean, I know we say this a lot with festivals, but it really does have a little bit for everybody, and it again has those added charming kind of thing. You've got your standard fair stuff, and then it's got the interesting categories and different...
Turtle races and
stuff.
Come
on, man. Frog jumping.
Yeah. But if you're interested, you want to find out more about the Porter Peach Festival, go to porterpeachfestivals.com.
Well, Pryor gets on the map, and it's not for Rocklahoma coming up next. So, Harley, I told you, sure, you asked me once not once in a blue moon. It's at least once a week. How's the shirts coming? And I've been cagey about it at times.
Because we have new designs.
We've got new designs in the works. Yes, we've got new designs in the works as we speak. But we do. I talked to Ronnie. He reached back out to me. I actually saw that the text that I sent him didn't just say red. The thing about having an Apple is you're sitting there waiting for somebody to go red, and then you're waiting for the bubbles to say respond. Well, he did respond. We've got shirts on the way. They're going to be soft.
Yes,
not the cheap stuff.
The previous shirts that we have, and I'm glad that we're discussing this, they're a little too close to burlap.
Yeah.
They're that really thick cotton. Like, I think those things should be used in bulletproof vests.
They don't snuggle well.
They don't.
And they don't breathe well. And like, how am I sweating? But the shirt's not even absorbing the sweat. Like, you're sitting there and you feel the sweat bead down. And you're like, I buy a shirt so I don't have to feel the sweat crack. Well, we're going to have some of those shirts. And they're coming from Ronnie Davenport over at Tailboard Apparel.
If you're in need of new shirts or any other promotional gear, check out our buddy Ronnie Davenport's work at tailboardapparel.com. He can screen print or embroider on just about anything. And if you're like us and need a refreshed logo, he can assist with that as well. Give him a call for a free quote at 405-517-2174.
Or find him on the web at tailboardapparel.com. Google. That's something we say a lot. Google it. Go to the Google. But now the Google put Pryor, Oklahoma in the search bar.
Yeah, they are. This is a news story from KFOR. Google to invest over $75 million in Oklahoma in 2022. The story's by Hicham Raache, I think.
That's right. Google representatives announced Wednesday that the company will invest $75 million into Oklahoma in 2022. Brother, we're already cruising through May. I wish I could spend $75 million in Oklahoma by the end of the year.
Yeah, they're spending a lot of money this year on data centers and offices and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
According to the news story, they're spending $9.5 billion in creating at least 12,000 full-time Google jobs throughout the nation this year.
You know, it's a further illustration, though. There has been a mass exodus in industry and just humans in general that are California. They're leaving. You know, you remember when Silicon Valley was like the headquarters for all things tech?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and now Oklahoma seems to be the satellite office for all things tech now.
Yeah, I'm speaking of large
sums of money.
No, of large internet companies.
Sure.
I'm really wondering because it was really close, in my opinion, for Tesla to open up a plant in Oklahoma. I'm wondering.
Starlink?
No, if Twitter's purchased by Elon, if the headquarters will move to Oklahoma, that would probably make the heads explode.
Oh, yeah.
Of every single existing Twitter employee.
Every single one.
Like Oklahoma.
The reddest, one of the, if Texas is dark red, we've got to be like burgundy. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Honestly, I think that Oklahoma and Texas would probably have a to the death fight.
Oh, yeah. Over who gets it?
On who gets to be more red.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think Texas, on the flip side of that too, would lose its collective shit if Oklahoma got Twitter. I mean, I'm sure they're probably like, Dell, can we get rid of Dell and get Google? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, back to the news story.
Yeah.
Google has invested $4.4 billion into its Mays County data center and created 800 full-time jobs and external supplier jobs, including computer technicians, engineers, and various food services, maintenance, security roles. Just according to the news release, then you got to know that has a ripple effect.
Oh yeah,
in the surrounding community,
it has to. And I think you got to be, if you're Mays County, you got to be thinking you're lucky stars. And that's the thing about, as much as I love our metro areas and surrounding areas to that, it's so densely populated. I don't think we could have, unless they took over Devon Tower. I don't think that OKC would ever have a shot at landing at. There's just too much open real estate northeast.
Just in general, in Oklahoma, there are a lot of places where the people infrastructure is sufficient to handle a big company like that, and it's just green in every direction, so they can pick their spot. Right, you can. You're not. You look around some of the communities that are near here, and I'm gonna throw Walmart under the bus. They've got eminent domain in Yukon. They made a deal with Yukon when they came in that no compete clause. You can't build a crest across the highway right here. You can't do. Oh, yeah. So it's baloney, and that's. But you look at a big company like this that's not sucking everything dry. It's planting seeds, man. Yeah, and so the mayor of Pryor, Larry Lees, said, when Google expands, the growth isn't limited to the campus. Our schools, businesses, and nonprofits all share in Google's success, and we are thrilled to see the momentum continue. We're proud to say the internet lives in Pryor. Well, and to kind of piggyback on that, the company, they also announced that they're going to do a $100,000 grant to support education programs for nearby Choteau and Maisie public schools. That's a big deal. It is a big deal, and I like seeing it, and I hope that it starts something new. Yes. Yeah. It shows that. I mean, Google's I don't know what Google's one of the biggest companies. It's the first thing most people look at when they get on the computer. It's a massive move for them to come here. And the fact that they're already going, okay, you get a job, you get a job, you get a job, and then they're writing checks too. No, I agree. I think it all benefits the state as long as we maintain our Oklahoma attitudes. Yep. Like we don't allow that West Coast philosophy mindset to kind of corrupt what we've got going here. Absolutely. Because, I want to see more things like the Porter Peach Festival, and I definitely don't want to see the Google let's brainwash your kids with more video game festivals. Yeah, absolutely. But if you do want to brainwash your kids with something, brainwash them with the OnlyinOKShow. I've already started the first sequence of events that will program my children to hand out T-shirts and flyers for Daddy's podcast. Yes, and I fully endorse that. But most of our listeners aren't going to be indoctrinating their children. But if you enjoy what we do, if you find any value in it, we would really appreciate you sharing this with a friend or somebody that you think would be interested, and just send them over to our website, OnlyinOKShow.com. New shows every week. There's so many things we're going to be covering this summer. It's going to be staggering. We can't get it all, but we'll have a video or we'll have a conversation, and we want you to be a part of it. This has been the OnlyinOKShow. I am Brett. And I'm Harley, and we're out of here. Peace. Can I talk about the longest 8th grade graduation I've ever been to? Sure. Now or wait? No, go ahead. It's not show related. Dude, so, we're on time, which with 2 kids waiting on a babysitter, we got there at 6:30. Of course, like anything else, you got to wait for everybody to kind of slowly trickle in. Legitimately, right when you think, you're like, okay, cool, we got all the awards out of the way. Then we've got the special awards that the students picked for respective, for their peers. And then we've got the slideshow. And then, and then it just kept going. Yeah. And I'm sorry, even if it's a funeral, even if I knew the guy at the funeral, I can't be serious while I'm sitting there. I was just I'm like a kid. I was kind of quietly cracking jokes, and it just went on and on and on and on. You know what I mean? Like it just never stopped.
But it was nice. It was a nice little, but it was hot in there, and it was country. Because Tara, she's so funny. She goes, "Is this a private school?" She asked me this twice. I said, "No." She goes, "Are you sure it's not a private school?" Because they're sure are talking prayer line. I said, "This is a small town school. They don't, we don't do the separate church and state stuff. Doesn't even, we ain't leaving God out of this one." So it was funny. Because you just don't hear that in OKC public schools. I would like to thank my father, like your dad's dead. My higher powered father, the CEO of the universe.
Well, I appreciate you pinch hitting for me.
No problem. Took some pics, sent them to Amber, and funny thing. I don't think she listens to the show. But I was insecure because I was wearing kind of a lighter Hawaiian shirts. So you know how light shirt, you kind of sweat a little. Mm-hmm. You get the freaking greenhouse effect going on. You get a little, your deodorant starts to kind of smell like a guy that owns a used car lot on 29th. It's just like that kind of a Swedish, funky smell if you get too close. So at one point she gets up to leave, and I thought it was because of me. I mean, I was literally like sitting like this the whole time. You couldn't have squeezed a freaking dollar bill between my freaking arms and my armpits. Yeah, that's funny. You know what's even funnier? 3, 2, 1. And welcome to the show. Today we're discussing the Porter Peach Festival in Porter, Oklahoma. And later in the show, Google is investing a truckload of cash in our state. I'm Brett.
And I am Harley. Do you want to do that again?
Yes,
that was a weird pausing.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.